This is the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast. We have assembled the world's finest sports and trivia dorks to prove once and for all that we are just as bad at this as we were at sports.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast, sports trivia for those of us who rode the pine. I'm your host, Matt. Not that one, the other one, the new one, the Crystal Pepsi of Matt's, as it were. And today's game, we'll be pitting the Benchwarmer team of Eric Eade and Josh Bombach against Benchwarmer Eric Walling and our special guests today and a returner to the bench, Tucker Warner. Tucker, it's been a little bit, I think, but you've been here a few times, so why don't you catch us up on how you're doing and who you root for and all that good stuff.
Yeah, first and foremost, thanks for having me back. This is the best sports trivia podcast around, or tied with Sports Trivia Face-Off now that that's back. Honestly, I love both. Anyway, I'm Tucker Warner. I'm Skyping in here from Brooklyn today. My teams are the nearby Yankees. We don't have to talk about how their season's going at this moment. UConn, in which we're having a much better season, and the Carolina Pro teams. Hopefully we get a lot of questions on all of those, although I'm pretty sure UConn football won't be coming up today.
All right. No, I don't think Paul Pasqualoni will be making an appearance tonight. And Walling, how you doing? And why don't you give us your team name?
I'm doing well. If you're hearing this on when it's supposed to release, I'm most likely on an airplane back from Rome, where I have hopefully rooted the United States on to victory at the Ryder Cup. So, wow, great job, USA, good win. Or, man, that was a disappointing loss. Just edit whichever one of those.
We'll fix it in post.
Thanks. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm like counting down the days. I think 19 days till I take off, and work is going very slow the closer I get.
Wait, so. What's going on in Rome, New York?
Yeah, I'm going to Rome, New York.
Oh, cool.
For the Ryder RIDER Cup. It's just
right.
A bunch of guys.
It's a different one.
Yeah.
It's Ryder Strong from Boy Meets World. Just holding the cup.
Oh, is he? How's he doing?
Ryder's Cup. How could we even know? But we decided we landed on we were trying to kick around what's some funny things that happened this weekend, and so we said, Brian Kelly lost another big game, and we both laughed because he does that a lot. And really, I decided the only certainties in life, there's three: death, taxes, and Brian Kelly losing big games. So that's going to be our team name tonight.
All right, and Eade and Josh, I don't know who came up with the team name, so I don't know who wants to go first, but
it's
all
important.
It doesn't really matter. First off, Walling, is your microphone glowing? Is that going to explode on you?
Yeah, I'm going to be a Call of Duty streamer when I grow up.
Wow, look at that. It's fancy.
The Target didn't exactly have a ton of selection when I had to scramble.
Did you say the Target?
Yeah, the Target.
It's either it's one of two ways to officially move into being old is when you put the in front of a lot of stuff, or just make it plural. So if you called it the Targets, it'd be way better.
Aside from that, I'm doing fine on a Tuesday recording, which doesn't happen too often. But yeah, I'm doing good.
Sweet.
Eade? I'm fine. I just staring at a autographed hat I have for my favorite band, and it's looking me straight in the face. I'm just now noticing the guy that signed it. His autograph, because he plays the violin. His autograph looks like a dude stick figure playing the violin. So anyway, that's all I got going for me right now. And with that said, Matt, I think this is your first official hosted game as a bench.
Yes, it is.
So with that said, Josh and I have been around for a while. So our team name today is We Aren't New, even though I probably will mess up a few things up. So
some would say we are two of the original and the only two on this current recording that were from the very beginning. So yeah, we're not new. We're old.
All right. So we've got Death, Taxes, and Brian Kelly losing big games against We Aren't New. We've got our team names. Now it's time to play the game. So let's kick it over to Dan for the rules.
The game will consist of 4 quarters of play, each with different trivia style. The styles of quarters 1 through 3 will change from show to show, and I will explain them as we go along. Like any good sporting event, we will have a halftime show after the second quarter with entertainment questions. And in the fourth quarter, our teams will wager from their points accumulated to see who are today's clipboard captains, to be honored like the true benchwarmers they are. All right, let's get this game underway.
I thought Dan left.
I think this is his way to still be a part of the.
Oh, yeah. He just always wants the attention.
Rules guy
Typical
emeritus.
Dan.
All right. Today's first quarter will be pre and post game.
Pre and post game. For this quarter, there will be 4 before and after style questions. For example, if I said, what all-time leader in receptions for the Indianapolis Colts was a Notre Dame safety drafted by the Minnesota Vikings, the answer would be Marvin Harrison Smith. Each question is worth 25 points.
Back again, Dan. You know what, Dan?
So much Dan. All right. Question number 1 in pre and post game. The only WNBA player in the 50-40-90 club, accomplished in 2019, and the 2003 National League Rookie of the Year, who led the league in wins 2 years later.
We're going to check in.
Yeah.
All right. Death, Texas, and Brian Kelly losing big games has checked in. We aren't new. Talk it out.
I think I got the first part, Eric. That way you don't have to try and think of a woman answer.
Well, I have the second part.
Oh.
I have the second part. I was
All right. Well, if you got the second part, the first
Dontrell
part.
Willis.
Yeah. So the first part is what's her first name? Deladon.
Cheryl.
Elena Deladon.
Oh, all right. I know one female basketball player named Cheryl.
It's not Miss Swoops.
Oh, no. It doesn't roll in the Dontrell Willis well?
No.
All right. So go ahead. It's Dontrell
So we're
Willis.
going to check in with Elena Dontrell Willis.
And Death, Taxes, Brian Kelly losing big games. What'd you have?
Yeah, actually, we get some UConn content for me right out the gate because she decommitted from my beloved Huskies, but we said Elena Dontrell Willis as well.
All right. And both teams getting points. The pride of Encinal High School in Alameda, California, Dontrell Willis and Elena Deladon. We used to play Encinal in high school baseball, and they did not have Dontrell or Jimmy Rollins, both alumnuses of the school, on their team. So we beat them a lot. Question number 2 in pre and post game. Brazilian left back and free kick specialist who spent the bulk of his career at Real Madrid, and a 2-time major champion who was born 400 kilometers south of Madrid.
Yeah, I think we can check in with that.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we'll check in.
All right. Death, Taxes, and Brian Kelly losing big games has checked in. We aren't new. The floor is yours.
I don't know where 400 kilometers south of Madrid gets us. I don't know. Are we still in Spain?
Probably Australia, if my math is correct. It's normally not, so don't listen to that. Brazilian left back. That narrows it down to every soccer player ever. So
Free kick specialist. I'm trying to think of if this is golf, I'm trying to think of the Spanish players who've won. Who just won the Masters this year? I don't know if that was his first.
was he Spanish?
Yes. I mean, I think he's Spanish and he lives in the U.S. now, but
I don't know. I have 0 for either of these. Without.
And there's also Jose Maria Olazabal. I don't know how many majors he won.
It's killing me because I don't. Without a time frame, it hurts me so much.
And I'm not sure about 2-time necessarily, but
Like
and I have no idea on the first part. John Rahm. So there's John Rahm, Jose Maria Olazabal, and there's another one too that I can't think of right offhand. Did you watch the Masters at all?
I didn't this year. No, not at all.
Because the third one was, I think, there and greeted him right afterwards, and he's another former Masters winner. And I think, oh God.
Jose,
So
Caesar, Jesus, Fabino, Danilo. I can't. I mean, Kaká. Nope, doesn't work. Ronaldinho. I'm just gonna start throwing out Brazilian guys I know.
I've given you the two of the three. I'm trying to come up with that third name.
Ronaldo, no.
And
Roberto Carlos.
that's assuming that this is a golfer and not like.
Yeah, I got nothing. I say we just punt this because I don't think I'm gonna get there.
I just want to get that last one. I can't think of his name. Damn it! I didn't know if that would help you if I could get there, but
Yeah, I mean, the soccer,
or maybe
Olazabal
Olazabal was the one who's there. Sevi Ballesteros. Does that help at all? Sevi,
and that's the second part.
That would be the beginning of. Those are the three I can think of for golf.
Yeah.
If it goes to tennis or something,
think of one that...
I wouldn't know it just a 2-time. So I got. Let's go.
Yeah,
let's punt it out.
Let's punt it.
We got nothing.
Okay. And death taxes and Brian Kelly losing big games. What did you come up with?
So the first half is famous for a physics bending near post free kick that somehow goes outside of a post, comes back in. His name is Roberto Carlos. And then the second half is the wrong sport that you guys were after. You said it at the end, but 2-time major winning Spanish tennis player, Carlos Alcaraz. So Roberto Carlos Alcaraz.
All right, and one team getting points. Yeah, it is Roberto Carlos Alcaraz, who just won Wimbledon, his first Wimbledon, and his second major this past whenever that was. All right.
I don't get to do this often anymore, but the first half, who?
Sorry. Oh, you gotta look up, at the very least, look up that Roberto Carlos.
Have you not listened to the show at all, Matt?
The most incredible.
My thoughts on soccer.
It's a 7-second clip. I think you can handle it. You've got the patience for it.
Too much.
It's a goal being scored.
Yeah, it's a goal being scored, and it can fit in the length of a vine. I think you can handle it.
Good point. Fair that it did not result in a 0-0 tie.
That's
fair.
Right. That's right. All right. Question number 3 in pre and post game. Cardinals utility infielder nicknamed the Secret Weapon, who appeared at every defensive position in his MLB career, wields a weapon popularized in wrestling by a 1994 Singapore caning match between Tommy Dreamer and Sandman.
Oh, we can check in.
Okay. I trust you because none of this means anything to me.
No, I was, yeah, we're good. We're good.
All right. We Aren't New has checked in. Death Taxes and Brian Kelly. Talk it out.
Do you know any wrestling?
A little bit.
Okay.
But,
I only know wrestlers that movies, so.
Okay, so I'm going on Cardinals utility infielders.
Yeah. Like you said Skip Schumacher in the chat, which that's a maybe. Depends on how far we go back. Could it be like Jose Oquendo? He definitely played a lot of positions in the late 80s.
Did. So yeah, and
or is it like Joe McEwing? Maybe he played for the Cards for a little bit. I can't remember who the Secret Weapon was.
No, and I'm
Pablo Sanchez, but real rather than
I think so. End of Oquendo. There is a thing called a kendo stick, and it's just like a big sword that's made of like balsa wood that they hit against the back of guys. So if the first half of this is Jose Oquendo, the second half could be kendo stick.
That sounds great to me. I was going to be no help on the second half.
Okay, all right. So I think that's good because otherwise, unless there's something that's a Schumacher pole or something, then we're in trouble.
Uh-huh.
But I like it. Let's do Jose Oquendo stick.
And We Aren't New. What you got?
Yeah, I knew the first part pretty quick, Jose Oquendo, and then I couldn't think. I'm like, what is? I didn't even understand what the second part was. I'm like, wait, Oquendo, and that's Oquendo stick. So we said Jose Oquendo stick.
Both teams getting points. It is everyone's favorite Irish baseball player, Jose Oquendo, and the kendo stick. All right, and question 4, the final question in pre and post game. The 2007 Eddie Robinson Coach of the Year award winner at his only college head coaching position, and the 1992 Heisman Trophy winner.
All right, we'll check in.
All right, Death Taxes, Brian Kelly losing big games have checked in. We Aren't New. It's all yours.
We got the 92 Heisman.
Gino Torretta. So is that Mark Mangino? He was at Kansas. He's the arthropod, the guy that's like coming at you in sections. He was Geez, the Kansas coach, the big guy with the weird nose. Is he still alive?
I don't know. Wasn't he a rather big fella?
Yes. He's a big guy. Mark Mangino. If maybe it's not even that. Maybe I'm just mixing up names, but I'm pretty sure that's him. Kansas coach, right? That's all I got. But 92 Heisman is definitely Gino Torretta. So
All right.
So we'll go Mark Mangino Torretta.
Okay. And death taxes, Brian Kelly?
Yeah, 2007 is one of my all-time favorite college football seasons just for all the chaos there. And I think most surprising was Kansas's run to, I believe, the Orange Bowl. And as soon as we figured out Mark Mangino, Gino Torretta followed right afterwards. So we also said Mark Mangino Torretta.
And both teams getting points. It is Mark Mangino Torretta. Okay. So after the first quarter, we have death taxes and Brian Kelly losing big games, still pitching a perfect game with 100 points, and we aren't new with 75.
We wanted to let you know that we are on Patreon if you'd be interested in supporting us financially. Your contributions will be used to help us cover the costs that it takes to bring you the high-quality sports trivia you have come to expect from us. There's also some great perks that come with the Patreon membership to the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast, including bonus episodes and Benchwarmers swag. You can find us at patreon.com/benchwarmerstp. Thanks.
It's time to move on to the second quarter, which today will be the missing link.
The missing link. This quarter will consist of 5 questions with theme-linked answers. The teams will attempt to answer the questions and guess the theme. Each question is worth 20 points. If a team checks in first via chat to the host with the correct theme before the 5th question, they will earn 100 points. The other team can still earn 50 points with the correct theme guess. If neither team has checked in with the correct theme before the 5th question, each team can earn 50 points with the correct answer to the theme after the 5th question.
Fun Mark Mangino fact, I saw him in the lobby of the hotel that the team was staying in after the Fort Worth Bowl in 2006, I think, and he was so big he couldn't fit in the rotating door.
Jesus.
He had to go through like the handicap, like a double door. He is a giant human being.
He is still alive, by the way.
Is he?
Good,
good.
Good for him.
He's like a K-State assistant coach, too. Weirdly.
Oh, Matt might kill off his first guy. Cool.
Oh, no.
Question number 1 in the missing link. He led the SEC in completion percentage in 2022 on his way to earning first-team All-SEC honors, though he was the 4th SEC quarterback taken in the 2023 NFL Draft.
We'll check in.
We Aren't New has checked in. Death taxes, Brian Kelly losing big games. Talk it up.
All right, I think we're pretty close to checking in here, but so like Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson, definitely first 2 SEC quarterbacks taken. Then Levis probably 3rd, unless I'm forgetting somebody in the middle. And
yeah, I don't think so. I don't think there's anybody. But I was trying to go through the different schools of who would have had a quarterback worth drafting, and then the only other one I could think of was the one that we're close to here.
yeah, and so I mean, he had a great year too. You know, like they had an awesome offense. It feels like it's anybody who got like first team All SEC too. Like I feel like Hendon Hooker's a safe bet here.
Yep, I like it.
We'll go with Hendon Hooker.
Okay, and We Aren't New. What you got?
Yeah, so it was Young, Richardson, Levis, Hooker, and then Bennett. So we went with Hooker.
And both teams getting points. The correct answer is Hendon Hooker. He finished with a 69.6% completion percentage to lead the SEC last year. And yeah, in that stacked field, he got the first team All SEC nod. The theme linked answers so far is Hendon Hooker. Question number 2 in the missing link. As a rookie in 2003, he became the first player in NBA history to score more points in the playoffs than in the regular season. And his defense against Kobe Bryant in the following year's NBA Finals was a key factor in their championship run. He now works as the vice president of basketball operations for the Memphis Grizzlies.
I'm good with it if you are.
Yeah, I think we check in here.
All right, we'll check in.
Death taxes and Brian Kelly losing big games has checked in. We Aren't New. The floor is yours.
Oh, jeez. What do you know about the Grizzlies?
I don't know if I know their VP of basketball operations, to be honest with you.
What about Tayshaun Prince? Isn't he with that would have been Kobe Bryant? I mean, the Pistons beat him.
Oh, probably. Was that the year he was drafted?
I think so. I say we go with it. I'm not going to come up with anything better.
I'm certainly not.
All right, we'll check in with Tayshaun Prince.
Okay, Tayshaun Prince and death taxes and Brian Kelly losing big games.
Yeah, this is one we thought about, but I feel like the only major perimeter player on that year's Pistons in 2004 that would have been a rookie at that point or second year was Tayshaun Prince. So we have the same answer.
And both teams getting points. Yeah, it is Tayshaun Prince. Yeah, his rookie year, he scored 137 points in the regular season and then scored 141 in the playoffs. Okay, so the themed link answers so far are Hendon Hooker and Tayshaun Prince. Question number 3. In his first season as a starter, he became the first quarterback to throw for 20 touchdowns and run for 10 in the same season. His 4 turnovers in the AFC Championship game versus the Broncos that year highlighted his inconsistencies, and he finished his career with 77 touchdowns and 84 interceptions.
We'll check in.
We Aren't New has checked in, death taxes, and Brian Kelly losing big games. It's all yours.
All right, so it definitely has to be like 80s or late 90s. I feel like it's most likely those like late 90s runs because there were not a lot of mobile QBs back in the 80s.
Right. And the ones that I was thinking of that would either be late 90s or early 2000s would have had more touchdowns than, 77?
Yeah, so this has to be a guy who didn't start for very long. So like you put Cordell Stewart as an option there, and I'm talking myself into that. And I was thinking of a lot of guys like outside of the like AFC who could have done it also. And then I'm like, but it doesn't fit all the clues. So I'm talking myself into Cordell Stewart here. I really think that could be right. He was definitely inconsistent. Didn't throw for a ton of touchdowns. Definitely would have ran for many.
And played for a good AFC team at the
Right,
time.
yeah. Because, like we're only 2 or 3 years away from a Super Bowl appearance for the Steelers. So I think we go with that. I don't think I'm going to come up with anything better.
Okay. All right. We'll check in with Cordell Stewart.
All right. And We Aren't New. What'd you have?
I think he was like the first guy that, the unfair advantage of having quarterback playing other positions on the field because he had the microphone in his ear too. And that's when they started, getting into all that. So now you have to have that green dot on the back of your helmet. There's only like one on the field at a time. But yeah, we went with Cordell Stewart.
Both teams are getting points. It is Cordell Stewart. Yeah, he threw 3 picks and also had a fumble in that, I think, the 97 AFC Championship game against the Broncos, and had the one good year, I think, in 2001 after that, but really only had those 2 good seasons as a starter, and the rest of it was kind of meh. All right, so the theme link answers so far are Hendon Hooker, Tayshaun Prince, and Cordell Stewart. Question number 4. At time of recording, this MLB veteran is just shy of 300 career home runs and 1,000 career RBI. His best statistical season was 2019 with Cleveland, hitting 34 homers and driving in 93 runs, making his only All-Star game and winning the Silver Slugger at first base.
Did we check in yet?
No.
No.
No one has checked in yet.
We'll check in.
All right. We Aren't New is checked in. Death taxes, Brian Kelly losing big games. Feel free to talk it out.
Both of us came to the same name. Tucker a little faster than me. But we're going to check in with Carlos Santana.
All right. And We Aren't New.
Apparently we're new here. It was we went with Carlos Santana. There's not much to say other than that.
All right. He's just like the ocean under the moon, and both teams are getting points. It is Carlos Santana. The theme link answer so far, Hendon Hooker, Tayshaun Prince, Cordell Stewart, and Carlos Santana. Question number 5 in the missing link. This is the name of the fictional apparel company that sponsors the Ducks in the movie D2 and causes Gordon Bombay to go Hollywood on everyone's ass.
We can check in.
We Aren't New has checked in.
Come at me with a Mighty Ducks question.
Death taxes and Brian Kelly losing big games. Talk it out.
I'm embarrassed by how many times I watched this movie without like recalling this detail at all.
I can see him shooting the commercial with his slick back hair.
Pretty sure that was for sneakers, his coaching shoe.
A hockey coach with coaching shoes? What?
He was trying to get the Sneaker deal.
Greenland is ice and Iceland is nice. Taught me everything about geography.
And Trinidad and Tobago wears tie-dye.
Yeah. And plays a lot of hockey.
It plays a
Very
lot
bad
of
hockey. Very bad hockey.
I want Cool Runnings, but it's the story of the fictional Trinidad and Tobago
Oh my
hockey team.
God. Yes. Those steel drums after they scored a goal. I'm like, really? That's what we're doing?
Yeah, I think I've got nothing for this one.
I'm gonna have to work backwards off of your ideas here.
I mean, based on like the theme idea we have too, it's like it could kind of be anything too.
If it's your idea for the theme, let's work backwards off of if it's this idea. Sorry, this makes for great radio, I know.
Yeah. I'm not even 100% sure that like that is the theme. It just seems like it fits the best, especially after the last question.
I mean, if you want to talk out the theme along with this, the We Aren't New has checked in with a theme. So
Okay.
Okay, then we
feel
can
free to talk
do
it.
that.
Feel
Better
free to
than
talk
that.
it all out here.
So if it is not people who have played on a song with Rob Thomas and it is guitar players, what are the names? Like, was there a Slash? Was there
Slash seems like something that would have been like the fictional name of a sporting company, like in a Disney movie.
Slash or Van Halen or
Hendrix.
Hendrix?
Probably
or,
not due to the gin association in a kid's movie.
Van
Or-
Halen.
Yes, Van Halen Hockey Goods Company.
If we're gonna come up with something that just like fits the theme the best, probably Slash seems like it could plausibly be the answer to this question.
Then let's check in with, since they've already checked in with the theme, we'll check in with famous guitar players as our theme and with Slash as the answer to this question.
And We Aren't New. What you got?
So the guy who worked for this company, his name was Mr. Tibbles. He took a puck to the head. But you guys said it and you went over it because it is a gin company and it was Hendrix Hockey.
Oh,
All right. One team is getting points. Yes, the correct answer is Hendrix Hockey, even with the X and the whole deal. Themed link answers so far, or completely: Hendon Hooker, Tayshaun Prince, Cordell / Stewart, Carlos Santana, and Hendrix. Death, Taxes, and Brian Kelly Losing Big Games already checked in with their guess of guitarists. We Aren't New. What did you come up with slightly earlier?
We also said, first we thought just musicians, and then we had to be a little more specific. So we said guitarists. We didn't know who the Stewart was, so we went with a solid guess.
And that is correct. They're both guitar. All five of them are guitarists. We got John Lee Hooker. We got Prince. I kind of was being cagey by not saying Cordell / Stewart every time because there's the slash.
Oh, Slash. His nickname.
I see what you did there.
Carlos Santana and Hendrix.
That Carlos Santana one was a little on the nose. Right?
That's why I threw it in. That's why I threw it in not till the fourth clue. I wanted to see if somebody could get it from Hooker and the law
not
firm
very
of
smooth
Hooker
at
and
all, I might
Prince.
say.
So
Well, we put rugby positions at the beginning. I'm like, these could all be rugby positions, and that was immediately thrown out when Prince came up.
Well, Josh threw out sex workers. I'm like, it's too obvious with the kick off with Hooker and be.
that was a joke.
And I even said back, I'm like, would he do that for his
I'm
first
like,
episode?
no. But then I was like, well,
I would.
lefties are known as hookers sometimes. So I was like, okay, could have been lefties.
Oh.
Are you telling me Rod Stewart is not known for his guitar playing? I don't even know
I
if he
mean,
plays guitar at all. but-
sure, yeah, you could throw Rod
Sure.
Stewart in there,
Sure.
maybe.
Plays
I
That was
guess.
the first
Guitar
name I
hero.
came up with.
I
That's
don't
why
think
we
he's
had
known as a
musicians.
guitarist, but
I don't
yeah,
think so. I'm
it
not
was-
even sure he plays it, but who knows?
Just pick one up once.
I'm sure he's better than me at it. It's not saying much. I can play 3 chords on the guitar. Anyway, after the second quarter, we have a lead change. Death, Taxes, and Brian Kelly Losing Big Games are at 230, and We Aren't New has pushed in front slightly with 275. It's now time for halftime.
It is now time for the halftime show. There will be 3 entertainment questions pertaining to sports, with each question worth 25 points.
And more Dan. He'll never leave us.
Pretty sure I fired him. I don't know how the hell.
That's why Ede had so many herpes names. It's foreshadowing.
For halftime today, and my weeks of time is Schrodinger's Benchwarmer when I was neither a member nor not a member. I had some time to do some research. So I came up with an exhaustive list of old, obscure, or bad sports movies that I'm going to be using for future halftimes. We're going to keep this one real simple. I'm going to give you the date, the title, and a short plot synopsis of 3 bad, obscure, or old sports movies. All you're going to do is you're going to tell me, is this a real movie that exists, or did I make it up? That's all we're going to do here.
This is exciting. Very
Okay,
exciting.
Here we go. Question number 1. 1948's The Return of October. This is the warm-hearted story of a wholesome Terry Moore, whose late Uncle Willie is reincarnated as a thoroughbred horse. At least, as far as Miss Moore is concerned, he is. The horse's name is October. Moore is tried for insanity, then becomes the subject of a book by a top psychologist who falls in love with his subject.
All right, we can check in.
All right, We Aren't New has checked in. Death Taxes, Brian Kelly losing big games. Talk it out.
Yeah, we shouldn't think too much about these. Like, do we think we've heard of this or have we not? And both of us had the same knee-jerk reaction, which is, we swear we've heard this somewhere before. So let's just check in with this as a real movie. No offense. Not that I think Matt could make this up, but I just think this might be a real movie. So we'll check that out.
All right, and We Aren't New. What did you check in?
Pretty sure my mom watched this before with me in the room, and I hated every second of it. She loves like old stuff. Like anytime she puts something on and it's like not color, and I'm just like, ugh, it's just exhausting. Like you don't even know what they're saying. You're just like, shut up, just shut up. And it just keeps going on for days, at least it feels like. But yeah, this was a real movie.
And with this being such a stupid premise, I was like, that actually sounds, I wouldn't be surprised for 1948. They came up with some doozies in the early days.
When did Mr. Ed come out? Was this like riding the coattails of Mr. Ed? They're like, you know what, we gotta get more horses and behind a kid. Like, let's go.
Both well reasoned. Yes, this is a real movie. So points to both teams. Question number 2. Is this a real movie or did I make it up? From 1979, Golden Girl. A neo-Nazi doctor tries to make a superwoman of his daughter, who has been specially fed, exercised, and conditioned since she was a child in preparation of the Olympics.
Are we sure this isn't the Todd Marinovich biography movie? It's inspired by true events. He just changed names have been changed to prevent the innocent.
Protect the innocent.
Yeah.
Speaking of Marinovich, by the way, I don't think I've told this story on a previous podcast. I don't know how often he comes up when I appear on here, but my freshman year of college, who do I see starting on my team's defensive line than Mikhail Marinovich, the much younger brother of Todd Marinovich by about 20 years. It shocked me. I was like, oh, Marinovich, I've heard that name. I better go see if they're related. They're very related.
Wow.
20 years?
Something like that. Yeah. I mean, this was 2011.
So his dad was desperate. I'm like, we got to try this again.
Yeah.
Like, let's roll those dice.
Restart.
Marv really wanted to try again. And this time he was building the perfect defensive lineman body.
Defensive lineman.
All right. We'll check in.
All right. We Aren't New is checked in. Death Taxes, Brian Kelly. Talk it out if you want to talk it out.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't ringing any bells at all.
No, I'm going to try to find it if it's real, but I just...
No, this is the sort of B movie I would absolutely watch.
Right.
I don't care
it
how bad. It
almost just feels like it hits too many tropes. So I'm good with fake if you're good with fake.
Yeah, I just have not heard of anything related to this.
Okay,
Fake.
all right. We'll check in with fake then.
Okay. Death Taxes, Brian Kelly has checked in with fake. We Aren't New. What you got?
Well, Eric said his gut says it's real, and I rolled a 20-sided die, and I determined that evens were real and odds were fake, and I rolled a hard 20. So his gut and my die both say it's real.
Okay. One team, obviously, is getting points. This is a real movie.
Oh, my God.
Not only is it a real movie, but in doing research, I watched the trailer for this movie at least 3 times. There are just some incredible nuggets in it.
This is a Robert Altman one, right?
It's a David Fincher joint.
Terrence Malick's Golden Girl.
Yeah.
Ooh.
All right. Question 3 of halftime. Is this a real sports movie or did I make it up? From 2016, Split. Split is a peek into the life of Cassie, an overachiever with a thing for bowlers whose life takes an unexpected turn when she reads a strangely ominous statistic in the local newspaper as her 30th birthday looms and becomes convinced she has just under a month to meet and marry the man of her dreams. Despite pleas from her friends, she begins to hatch a plan, but a fateful run-in at her local lanes makes her wonder what she really wants, the 7 or the 10.
Okay, we'll check in.
Okay, We Aren't New has checked in. Death Texas, Brian Kelly, what you got?
All right. Well, I think we're coin flipping here.
I'm virtually coin flipping. We're going to go heads is real and tails is fake because we're torn between this is so absurd, there's no way it could be real, and this is so absurd, there's no way Matt could make this up. So
Yeah, so like my theory is, and this is my side for potentially fake, which I mean at this point it's coin flip anyway, but like I'm an M. Night Shyamalan fan and there's another 2016 movie called Split. And so I'm banking on them not having like a small studio make the same title with the same year as like a major release, because that's normally a really bad way for your movie to get found. That's also the same sort of thing that like something this insane would not even know.
What about this movie description makes it sound like anyone did it with an ounce of sanity?
Yeah.
But our coin flip has landed on heads, according to Google. We will check in with real. Fate says real.
And we aren't new.
Well, my initial thought was I was going right down the same place that Tucker was, because yes, absolutely a pretty big movie in 2016, Split, not about bowling, but about, split personality and things like that. But then Eric said to me,
I was on Paramount a couple weeks ago looking for sports movies, and I thought I came across this. But now I'm remembering another time where I saw a movie. There is a movie called 7-10 Split from like the late 2010 or late 2000s. So maybe I'm just getting them confused. But we said real because I thought I saw it on Paramount.
well, worst case, we both don't get points.
If this got picked up for a major streaming network, that's quite good. And now I have to figure it out. I like that.
Well, both teams are getting points. This is a real film that exists. And here's actually the other wild part, right? So we had the M. Night Shyamalan Split. We had this movie called Split. There is a third 2016 movie also called Split on IMDb. It's a Korean movie. It's also about bowling.
Amazing.
So there were two on opposite sides of the world, two films in 2016 made called Split, both of them about bowling. And the Korean one sounds like a cross between Kingpin and Rain Man. And that one just seems too much for even this game.
So you didn't.
Like
I didn't come up with any of those.
You just made it sound like it was super clever. He came, and no, I didn't do it.
No, I didn't do anything at all. I just found 3 really funny IMDb synopses.
Wow.
Love it.
All right. At the end of halftime, we have scores of Death Taxes and Brian Kelly losing big games with 280, and We Aren't New has increased their lead slightly with 350. That brings us to the second half.
We'd like to take a minute to invite you to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at BenchwarmersTP. We also have a Facebook group for fans of the pod called The Bench. Join us there to comment on the latest episodes and share cool sports facts and trivia. If you'd be willing to rate and review us on iTunes or Stitcher, we'd greatly appreciate the support so that other people may find this podcast. Thanks.
And today's third quarter will be Lucky 7.
Lucky 7. For this quarter, there will be 3 lists containing 7 items. The team that is trailing coming into the quarter will choose the first list and attempt to identify the items on this list one at a time. If the team has an incorrect guess, the other team can attempt to finish that list out. The team leading at the beginning of the quarter will select the second list, and whichever team is trailing after the first 2 lists will get the third list. Each item is worth 10 points.
Death Taxes and Brian Kelly losing big games get to pick from these 3 lists. And they're all lists that actually were partially inspired by just banter conversations on earlier Benchwarmers podcasts. Your 3 lists are the top 7 Major League Baseball players in career WAR named Orlando, the top 7 NBA players in career win shares named Kevin, or the top 7 NFL players in career passing touchdowns named Joe?
We'll do the top 7 NBA win shares named Kevin.
All right. While you start working on that, and we aren't new, you can figure out which list you're going to take first, and also catch up any rebounds.
We will check in.
All right. Death Taxes and Brian Kelly Losing Big Games has checked in, so why don't you roll them out one by one?
All right. We started with KG, Kevin Garnett.
Number 1 on the list, win shares of 191.4.
And probably right behind him is star of Thunderstruck, Kevin Durant.
Number 2, 161.9.
Coattails.
Right. Third, we're going a little bit north and got Kevin McHale.
Number 3, 113.
All right. And sticking with the north, but in the Midwest, Kevin Love.
Number 5 on the list, 91.2.
Okay, maybe we didn't need to switch those after all. After that, I believe we have, is he the one who was the mayor? But
Mayor of
Kevin
Sacramento.
Johnson?
Yeah.
Kevin Johnson.
I would have accepted the mayor of Sacramento. But yes, number 4 on the list, 92.8 win shares.
All right. And then we went with just a guy who's played forever, knowing that win shares are a cumulative stat, Kevin Willis.
Kevin Willis is number 6, 81.8.
All right. And then we've got, I believe, Western Carolina legend Kevin Martin as our 7th pick.
Kevin Martin is number 7 on the list with 61.3. You ran them in almost in order. Very nice work. Just for posterity, number 8 on the list. There's actually a pretty big gap. Number 8 on the list was Kevin Porter Sr. At 36, and then Kevin Gamble at 33.3. Kevin Duckworth was somewhere in the 20s, but I just like his name.
Yeah, I wrote him out because he has like notoriously horrible advanced stats. Like apparently he was just complete crap when the Blazers were, in the NBA Finals and everything. I probably shouldn't have played him that much.
Consistently tall. That was his best feature. All right. So that was 70 points for Death Taxes and Brian Kelly Losing Big Games. We aren't new. What list would you like?
I think we go with the NFL one, right?
Yeah, that's, my strong suit is baseball, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I actually feel pretty good with I got at least a handful of names that might be good. So let's go with the NFL one.
Yep, we'll go with.
All right. Top 7 career passing touchdown leaders named Joe. Let me know when you're ready.
Let's check it in.
All right.
We Aren't New has checked in with their attempt at the top 7 NFL passing touchdown leaders for a career named Joe. Go ahead when you're ready.
You want to go with it? And
just first one's got to be Joe Montana.
It is 273 touchdowns.
My guess for number 2 in order would be Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco is number 2, 232.
Third on my list Josh didn't have him, but he played for the Bills. I know he had decent numbers. We went with Joe Ferguson.
Joe Ferguson is number 3 on the list with 196 career touchdowns.
And then Joe Namath.
Joe Namath is 4th, 173.
So if that's 173, so then Joe Theismann.
Joe Theismann is 5th with 160.
Okay, so then this is where
this
is a significant drop of.
I hope it works, but we'll see.
Right? I can't think of anybody else. So This is what we got. We're gonna go with Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow is number 6 on the list with 82 career touchdowns.
It
is a big drop from the top 5.
Wow.
So this next one could be right.
It could be.
I ran out of Joes. I asked Josh, I need another Joe. I can't think of any other ones. And he threw out a name there who I'm still waiting to break out. Maybe one of these seasons he'll finally figure it out. We went with Joey Harrington.
Joey Harrington. Hold on. Because he's a Joey and not a Joe.
Oh,
He's not on my list.
I just thought that's what
I'm gonna say because he went as a Joey and not as a Joe, that is incorrect. I'm gonna make that ruling.
All right.
So Death Taxes and Brian Kelly losing big games. The number 7 spot is still available if you want to take a crack at it.
I had only one name on my list that they didn't say.
Hang on just a second. May I do a score check really quickly?
You can. At present,
you can't. You get this last one, no matter what you do.
At present, We Are New is at 410. Cool. Death Taxes is at 350.
You tied us by running yours.
Yeah, you can get this right and still and you'll still get the last list.
Cool. All right, continue with your one, Joe.
Yes, I forgot the rules of this round, as I want to do. So the one that I thought of, based on me watching the John Boy's history of the Minnesota Vikings lately, was Joe Cap. He's got an outside chance at being the guy. He didn't really play that long, didn't pass for a lot of touchdowns, but it's a pretty big drop off in Joe touchdowns here. So, do you have any other names?
No, I will go with that.
All right, we're going to say Joe Cap.
Joe Cap is number 7 on the list with 40 career touchdowns. California Golden Bears legend, Joe Cap, by the way. So that is a little 10-point bonus. Yeah, I'm going to be a stickler because I did say Joe and not Joey. And Joey Harrington is the most Joey ever.
Do we know that these other ones weren't called Joey at some time or Joseph? I mean, do we know?
I mean, they might have been called Joey or Joseph but
not for their
mothers, but not for their careers.
Yeah. From now on, I'm referring to all of them as Joey.
Joseph Montana.
Little Joey Burrow.
Little Joey Burrow. All right. Okay, so that means the top 7 MLB players in career WAR named Orlando belongs to Death Taxes and Brian Kelly losing big games.
Ugh. Worst list ever.
May I have one tiny clarification, sir?
Yes.
Oh, geez.
Does it have to be their first name?
It does not necessarily.
Oh, well, here we go.
Oh.
This is.
May it be their last name? I guess let's put it that way.
I mean, it potentially could.
Okay.
Neither confirm nor deny.
All right. Well, then we'll do.
You can't be called Joey. If any of them are Orlando-y.
Yeah.
Screwed.
Okay.
Or Orlando-y or just Lando. Any Landos are out. Lando Calrissian? No, he's out.
Okay. What about Oral?
Whoa!
Orlando Hershiser.
Hershiser, yeah. It's
That's
short.
what
Oral is short for
This
Orlando.
is a family show, Eric.
All right. I think we're ready to check in.
All right. Checking in with the top 7 MLB players in career WAR named Orlando. Go ahead with your first volley.
I think number 1 with a bullet has to be Cepeda.
Orlando Cepeda is number 1, 50.1 career WAR.
Okay.
Lower than I thought.
We will go with El Duque Hernandez.
El Duque Orlando Hernandez is number 3, 23.1.
Okay. O-Dog Orlando Hudson.
Orlando Hudson is number 2, 30.9 career WAR.
Orlando Arcia.
Orlando Arcia is number 7 with 5.5 career WAR.
All right.
Wow, we had some bad years.
Yeah. All right. Orlando Cabrera.
Cabrera is number 4, 21.3.
Yeah, we're less confident about these last two.
I know. Orlando Palmero.
Orlando Palmero is number 8 on the lists with a 2.6 WAR. So you got 5, which is a very good effort for that list. We aren't new. There are 2 left if you want to try and grab them.
I do. I just want to figure out the order of the 2 that.
I would say the first of the 2 that you sent.
Yeah. Okay.
The one I refer to as trash.
Yeah. Well, once again, we're talking, I mean, number 7 has a career WAR of 5.5. So
I think we're good. I think we'll be good.
All right. So we're
even trash gets you at least a little bit more than that.
So we're going to go with Merced.
Orlando Merced is number 5 on the list, 16.2.
Sure his middle name is Trash.
And the only other Orlando that I could come up with, and I owe this to the big box of cards that my dad had that he gave to me one day, and I went through all of them. And there was an Orlando Pena from the 60s and 70s. So
Orlando Pena is number 6 on the list.
Hey!
12.9 career WAR. Orlando Pena, so he was Cuban. Brief flavor text on Orlando Pena. He's a Cuban right-handed relief pitcher, played from, this is why he has the WAR that he has. He played from 1958 to 1975. He wasn't necessarily very good in any of those years. He had a career win-loss record of 56 and 77, but he did play for a long time. So he's the Cuban Kevin Duckworth of Major League Baseball. He was just there for a while and could throw a baseball in the general direction of home plate. So
I'm pretty sure
he's number
Duckworth
6.
does have a negative WAR equivalent in basketball. I think
He might.
Negative. It's amazing.
Yeah, just behind Palmeiro was, I think, the one you were thinking of, Paulo Orlando.
Yes. Yep.
At number 9 with a 1.7 career WAR, and then Orlando Miller rounds out the top 10. And I think those are the only 10 Orlandos with a positive WAR, if I remember correctly. Orlando Calixte, no.
Wow.
Less than a replacement player. All right. That brings us to the end of the third quarter. And my friends, it is a close one. We have Death Taxes and Brian Kelly losing big games with 410. And We Aren't New just barely ahead with 430. And that brings us to the fourth quarter.
The fourth quarter, known as Put Your Fours Up. This quarter consists of 4 categorized questions that teams will wager up to 100 points each, not to exceed their current point total.
Okay, I apologize in advance. No, I don't. I don't apologize. I'm not apologizing for this. There is some math involved.
Mother.
Hey, it depends on the math.
Okay. There are also ways in the question to avoid doing the math, but you have to know a slightly harder question. So, here we go. The categories for today are as follows. Question 1, addition. That's an NHL question. Question 2, subtraction. That's an NBA question. Question 3, multiplication, is all about Major League Baseball. And question 4, division, is about the NFL. It is now time for the teams to place their wagers. Now that the wagers are in, on to the questions. Question number 1 in the fourth quarter. This is the category of addition, and it's an NHL question. We're going to do some jersey number math. Here we go. Sergei Fedorov's jersey number plus Evgeny Malkin's jersey number plus Austin Matthews' jersey number plus Joe Sakic's jersey number equals this number, the record for points in a single season by one player.
We shall check in.
All right.
Okay, We Aren't New has checked in. Death Taxes and Brian Kelly losing big games. Talk out this mumbo jumbo.
All right. Well, we're pretty confident on Fedorov.
That's it.
Okay. All right. I think you're right to overrule me there. I think I'm confusing Malkin with a different Penguin. So I think 71 is right.
Okay, I was going to say, I thought he had a 1, and I couldn't remember if it was 71 or 81, but I remember it being kind of a weird number.
Yeah, so, all right, 71. I'm going to try to bad math that. 71 plus 91 is 162, right?
So, yes.
All right. And if Matthews is like, what do we say, 25?
Yeah, 24, 25, something like that.
That makes like 187. And then Sakic is in the teens, I think. No, like I know. So if we go at this from the other angle of just like what's the record for single season points, obviously it's Gretzky, and I know it crosses above 200s. So maybe Sakic is like a 16, 18, something like that.
18 would make sense. What does 18 get us to?
That's 205. And 203 is 16. I should know this one, and I really don't. I feel like better about like the higher number here since we're sticking with like lower ones. So do we want to say like 18, get us to 205?
Yeah, I like it.
All right, that's pretty absurd number for a single season point total anyway. So let's check in with 205.
Yep.
All right, and we aren't new. What did you have?
Sergei Fedorov is 100% 91. Evgeny Malkin is 71. Joe Sakic, who I wish was my father, is 19. And Austin Matthews is not 24. He's not in the 20s. His number is 34. So our answer was 215 for 100 points.
One team is getting points, and the correct answer is 215. Yeah, that was Gretzky's 85-86 season was his 215 points.
Real quick, how many points did you guys wager?
100.
That was 100 by both teams on that one. Okay, so we've got We Aren't New up to 530. Death Taxes Brian Kelly still at 410, but still anybody's game. Question number 2, subtraction in the NBA. The single game, single player record for points in a playoff game minus the number of combined NBA championships won by the Celtics, Warriors, and Bulls franchises equals this number, the most successful NBA jersey number by total career win shares.
All right, we're going to check in.
Okay. We Aren't New has checked in. Death Taxes and Brian Kelly losing big games. Talk it out.
All right, so Magic, Kareem, or Wilt, which one do you want?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think like who had like there have to have been like so many like good Hall of Fame caliber players wearing the same jerseys. So like we know what like range we're in here, and just trying to figure out like how many other people we can think of with each of these three jersey numbers, I think.
We did have, it's been a very long time, and I think it was very early in the podcast, something about like the most all-star games or something, or playoff wins or something for a jersey number, and I think 32 was the number one on that list. That would give you Magic and Malone, right?
Oh, yeah.
So that would work. So 63 is definitely the point one.
Okay, we know the Bulls had
Jordan
6
at the
titles
Garden
for sure.
We know the Bulls had 6, so that'll get you to 57.
I feel pretty solid about the Warriors having 6. Maybe it's 7, but I know they've won 4 with Curry. They got 1 with Rick Barry, and they won 1 with Wilt in Philadelphia.
So that gets you to 51, right? Oh,
you know what? I think you're right. I think I can't count. It's possible they have 7. They might have won 2 in Philly, but I think it was just the 1.
Okay, so that would get us to 50.
So let's say the Celtics had that streak where they won 8 in a row, right? Was what it was?
Right. Yes.
All right. So that started like started the 60s, I want to say. So if they got 1 in the 50s too, that makes 9. They got, I want to say, 1 more right after the Sixers ended that streak. So let's say that's 10. They got 1 in the 70s for 11, 3 in the 80s for 14, and 08 for 15 total. Does that make sense?
I like it. So what would that put us at if we were at
51 minus 15, 34. Who was the 34 that you were?
Well, 51 minus 15 would be 36.
God, I really cannot count. It's a horrible category for me.
Right.
Not just math, but jersey numbers too. This is my 2 weaknesses.
If we want to go at this from the other direction and we like one of the jersey numbers better and we just can't make the math work out, I'm fine with that too.
Is there any chance 35 is it? Like I feel like I can think of some, classic basketballers with that jersey, but again, I so
think of
bad.
Kevin Durant with that.
Yeah. Which does get you a pretty high number, but
yeah.
All right, so anywhere between 32 and 35 at this point.
Where's that 700-sided die that those guys like to roll?
What number was Shaq?
32 to start, and then 34 with the Lakers. So I'm fine with 32, just because it seems to I seem to remember something about 32 earlier in the podcast. That's the only reason why I'm leaning that direction. So
Yeah, if maybe the Celtics had like even more titles than I thought. Like,
or the Warriors had like 10.
maybe they had two in Philly, but like Chamberlain didn't win that many titles, and two of them were with the Lakers. So I feel like it was one, maybe two back in the 50s. So that gives us like seven, maybe eight. But
So if we went 8,
high.
14, 59, that would make us have to get to 32, that would be 17. To get to 34, that would be 15. So which one sounds better, 34 or 32 with those numbers? 15 championships for them?
Yeah, I think we can get to 15. Maybe it's 16. There's wiggle room here. This is horrible.
Okay.
Something about 34 seems just a little bit better to me, but like if you want to rule, if your gut is stronger than mine, go 32.
Yeah, I'm fine with 34 if something feels right for you. So we'll go with that. Okay. We will check in with 34.
Okay, and we aren't
How many
new.
points?
What did you have?
Oh, excuse me, for 100 points.
Okay. Yeah, I love this round. I love math. Math is great. So we read that Jordan has 63 as the most. The Celtics had 17 championships. The Bulls had 6. And the Warriors have had 7. So you add those up, that's 30. So 63 minus 30, we came up with 33 as our answer for 100 points.
One team is getting their 100 points, and we aren't new. I think said it all. 63 points for Jordan. The Celtics have 17. The Bulls have 6. The Warriors have 7. They won 2 in Philadelphia in 1947 and 1956. They had the 1 in 1975 with Rick Barry, and then 4 in the Curry era. That means 33 has the most career win shares, with Kareem and Bird and Pippen and Ewing. I think it just squeaks over the 32s and the 34s. Okay. I think we'll skip the score update for this one, and just move right on to question number 3. Multiplication. This is a Major League Baseball question. Here we go. The length of Joe DiMaggio's longest hitting streak in games times the number of MLB players in history with the last name DiMaggio equals this number. The speed of Sid Finch's fastball in miles per hour.
We're going to check in.
Okay. Death, Taxes, and Brian Kelly Losing Big Games has checked in. We aren't new. Feel free to talk it out.
Sorry, I'm doing some math. So 56 for the hit streak. 3 DiMaggios.
168. Who's Sid?
Sid Finch was a fictional pitcher, right? There was some writer, I think. I don't know. I might have it wrong.
Sure.
Right, it was fictional, right? He said Sid Finch. Oh, yeah. Anyway, Aiden's.
Was this a book?
I don't know if it was a book or if it was an article. Newspaper, maybe?
There's words.
It was Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, I don't read.
Oh, it didn't say no, it didn't say on there. You're just giving us that info. Thanks.
Oh.
What do you say, 168? Right?
That would be 56 times 3.
Because there aren't any other DiMaggios, right?
There's 3.
Joe, Dom, and Vince.
You got it.
All right. Well, we're going to go with 168 for 100 points.
Okay. And Death, Taxes, and Brian Kelly, what did you come up with?
Yeah, pretty quick. Yeah, pretty quick. We got to 56, and Larry, Curly, and Shemp DiMaggio. So checked in with 168.
All right. Both teams getting points. Yeah, it is 168. The curious case of Sid Finch was an April Fool's Day prank article written by the legendary George Plimpton in 1985 about a Mets pitching prospect who wore one hiking boot while pitching, did not need to warm up, could throw a 168-mile-an-hour fastball, and was deciding between a career in baseball and playing the French horn full-time. And the Mets even went as far as to mock up a jersey and a locker for him to add to the prank, and it got a lot of people who were convinced this guy Sid Finch was coming out of the woodwork to save the Mets. A great article if you haven't had a chance to read it. All right.
No, Eric's not going to read that.
Both points there. Let's go to the last question of this game. It is a division question in the NFL. The Super Bowl number of the biggest blowout of the 21st century, divided by the Super Bowl record for touchdown passes in a game set in Super Bowl 29, equals this number, the record for made field goals in a single NFL game.
Yeah, all right, cool. Let's check in with what we think is either really wrong or really right.
Yeah.
Okay. Death Taxes and Brian Kelly Losing Big Games has checked in. We aren't new. Go ahead and talk it out.
Super Bowl 24.
Wait, that's in the 2000s?
No. Oh.
21st century. 2000. So the biggest blowout in the...
I missed that part. So since 2000? Is that the Seahawks one?
How much of a difference was that one? I'm trying to think of what number was 2000.
2000 was 34, right?
Okay.
So big blowouts would be...
Wasn't the Tampa Oakland 20-something?
Which that would have been 48 to 20 something. So 48-21. So that's 27.
Okay.
Seattle, Denver was like 43 to 8.
Okay.
So what's the difference there?
Oh, 43 to 8 is 35.
That would be, I think that's gonna
okay.
be it. So that was Super Bowl 48.
Okay. So what we need to know the Super Bowl number. Okay. So 48, you said?
Yeah. And we need the
most record touchdown passes in a Super Bowl.
Steve Young's, how many did he throw? 6?
He did. That would leave us with 8 for most field goals in a game.
8 times 3 is how many points?
Huh? Doesn't it just say how many?
No, I know. I'm just in my head. I just want to
for your own 8 times 3 is 24 points.
That sounds right. Let's go with it.
Was that Baronis? Did he kick 8?
Yeah.
Okay, so 48 divided by 6 equals 8. So then 8 would be the answer.
Take it.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, checking with 8 for 100.
Okay, and Death Taxes and Brian Kelly Losing Big Games. What'd you come up with?
Well, we did a very different form of the math that they did to get to the same answer, but we also thought that Rob Baronis kicked 8 field goals in a game, and so we said 8 as well.
I very distinctly remember we had 2 names that popped into our heads that had hit 7. Tucker's was Billy Cundiff, and mine was other Cowboy great Chris Boniol that hit 7, and I know that they aren't the record. So I remember. I also think Baronis's came in a game where it's the only other game where someone threw for 4 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, but they lost. So, yeah, Baronis, 8. Check it in.
All right. Both teams getting points. Yeah, very well reasoned. Yeah, and Eid kind of had got all the numbers right there. Super Bowl 48 was a 43-8 Seahawks win. It was the largest ever win by an underdog in Super Bowl history and the 3rd biggest blowout of all time. The 6 touchdowns were indeed by Steve Young versus the Chargers in Super Bowl 29. And the 8 field goals was by Rob Baronis of the Titans in the 2007 win over the Texans. And yes, both Chris Boniol and Billy Cundiff kicked 7 field goals in a game, along with Rich Karlis, Jim Bakken, and Shane Graham. Those are the other 7 field goal kickers. All right, the game has come to an end, and here are our final scores. Death Taxes and Brian Kelly Losing Big Games with 610 points, but just eclipsing them and earning our clipboard captains of the game and receiving the coveted Joe Germain and his 1 career NFL passing touchdown award with 830 points is We Aren't New. Tucker, you're our guest today. Is there anything else you want to say before we call it a night?
Yeah, please don't give me any more jersey number questions when I'm on the show next time, please.
I'm making a note of that now that I will immediately lose.
But seriously, thanks again for having me. A really great show. Loved the game. Great job with your hosting debut, Matt. Other than that, go Panthers, I guess. Hopefully Bryce Young by this time has shocked the world and looks like the MVP.
All right. Anything from the bench for the good of the order before we call it a night?
Let me take this time to just, because I don't think we've plugged this yet, Josh. I know you and I have been doing this stuff, and this will be coming out in October, so it's been going on for a while now. But follow us on TikTok. I don't know if it's been announced yet or we've ever mentioned it on an episode, but if you're hearing this and you're looking for stupid stuff on TikTok, when I say stupid stuff, Josh posts his trivia stuff. I have my son making NFL picks. And he did really well in the preseason. Weird. But I'm sure once I put money down on it, we're going to have to sell the house. But yeah, so if you find us there. It's Benchwarmers TP, kind of the same on all of our social media. But yeah, TikTok's our new thing, and we're seeing what we can get going with that.
And we opened the box, and it turned out Matt was alive inside. So we've solved the mystery of Schrodinger's Benchwarmer.
That's right. That's right. We've done it. I am fully formed from my cocoon and am now mixing my metaphors. Okay. Tucker, thanks for joining us tonight. And on behalf of Josh, Eric, and myself, we'd like to say thanks for listening to the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast. And until next time, we'll keep the bench warm.
That ball hit high and deep. Stretch. Get on back there. They look up. You can put it on the board. Yes.
Into deep left center for Mitchell, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
That great music you're listening to is by Justin Nozick. Thanks to him for producing that music for us. You've been listening to the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast. Make sure to check us out on all of our social media. We are at Benchwarmers TP.